Once again, everybody, welcome to All Call. If you haven't already, make sure you are on mute. Make sure that you go ahead and put your first and last name and base in your as your name for us. Sorry, brain.
Hi, everyone. Sorry.
MJ.
I'm in a meeting. What's up? I couldn't believe it.
You tell him to mute. There he goes.
No, I was being funny, Jen. I was being.
Oh.
Remember earlier today, I was on mute and I was like, I'm in a meeting. What's up?
Oh. You're being ironic and I missed it. I'm sorry. It's a long day, MJ. A long day.
Wednesdays are fun. I think everyone
Right.
should know, guys. On Wednesdays, it's our busiest.
It's our
busiest.
For sure. All right.
Right.
Angie, you want to get started?
Angie, you want to get started?
Yes, I'm gonna mute everybody.
Yes, I'm gonna mute everybody.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the all call. We're gonna go ahead and get started. If you haven't done so already, if you can go ahead and change your display name for your full name and base. If you can't do that, if you can please messages in the chat your full name and base. We greatly appreciate it. Today we're going to cover the mutual respect policy. We have a communications update and then our management meeting update. The mutual respect policy. The Association of Flight Attendants CWA is opposed to any discrimination based on age, color, disability, gender identity, gender expression. Unacceptable behavior includes unwelcome physical, verbal, or nonverbal conduct, including the use of electronic communication, and any behavior that ridicules, intimidates, or is physically abusive or disruptive. What we ask of you is that you treat everyone, including all AFA CWA members, leaders, and activists, as well as all AFA CWA staff, members, and meeting guests with respect and dignity. On the call with us today, you have your MEC officers, Jen Sala, your MEC president. I'm Andrew Henderson, your MEC vice president, and Toy Scott, the secretary treasurer. The voting members of the LEC or the MEC are all of your LEC presidents, most of which I believe are on the call today, but you have Kathleen O'Brien from Council 71, Nu'u Ware from Council 79, Ronald Bowman from Council 81, Wilmer Wynn from Council 84, Michael Rice from Council 85, Brianna Whalen from Council 86, and Ethan Clark from Council 87. Toy, I think we're ready for a communications update.
Andrew, can you hear her?
I cannot, no.
Okay, I'm gonna mute Toy.
Can you guys hear me now?
We can, yeah.
1 second. It's your computer volume. Okay. Sorry, there's a group of us in here right now. Okay, so for communications update, the website is being updated for the next 3 to 4 days. So if you log on and something looks unfinished, it is. Definitely be done by Wednesday of next week. It should be done before that, but definitely if you see something between now and next Wednesday that doesn't look completely finished, you're probably right. Company emails. Once again, you can't use your company emails to get into the ticketing site. You also can't sign up for newsletters and such with those company emails. Also, I've gotten several emails from members to my company email. Please don't send them to that. I don't check those until I fly. So you can go 3 weeks without hearing from me, and that's because you sent it to the company email. So make sure that you're utilizing afafrontier.org and getting our emails from that website, and then you can message us there, which gets checked regularly. Postcards, we did not deliver postcards today for multiple reasons, but one being our management meeting ended up being somewhere separate from headquarters. So we weren't able to take them physically there. We have found a better opportunity, which once we can share with you, we will, but we found a better opportunity of where to get those. So you guys have at least another week to get them in if you haven't gotten them in, but make sure that you are not sending them on your own. You're sending them with your union reps. So give it to your scheduling chair, your LEC president, vice president, secretary, whatever it may be. But make sure that you are handing it back to a union rep and not mailing them yourselves, even though you see that postage there with the address. So make sure that they are delivered to your union reps. Red pens. Please, please, please wear your red pens. Take pictures with your red pens. Take roofies and selfies. But yeah, red shirts, please wear to recurrent. Also, please wear on your layovers for those of you that have layovers. The company notices, and it's really important. So the picket is May 15th in Orlando, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Right in front of the Frontier ticket counter. So what terminal is that? A side. A side in front of Frontier. Departures. We will also do a virtual version, which won't be published until a couple days before for those of you guys that are flying. However, if you can make it, please, please, please come join us, come hang out with us. And then social media, please subscribe. We're on YouTube, which is where the all calls are posted. Instagram, Facebook. Also be mindful of what you say on Facebook. Some people are getting in trouble, but that's it. That's all my communications updates.
Great.
Okay, I'll mute now.
Thank you, Toy. We appreciate all of that from you.
All right. Thanks,
Next
Toy.
we have our management meeting update. Jen.
All right. Hi, everybody. We spent the morning with management, and we got a few things taken care of, but as always, more questions and answers. We've been trying to get you guys paid for a few months now on that SIM card installation that we had. Gosh, 6 months ago now, where you guys had to come in and get a SIM card put into your fly tab. The company has finally agreed to go ahead and pay you guys. It'll be it's a 15 minutes for your time to go get the SIM card installed. And we are hoping it's going to show up on your July paycheck. When we find out for sure where it's going to be, we'll let you know. So we are getting some paid for that. Catering carts, this is referring to those galleys that were completely blocked off because they said that the galley configuration or there was a maintenance issue with the galleys. We had originally 3 aircraft that were completely blocked off in the back. You couldn't use any of the galley carts. One of them was fixed. The other 2 we're being told is still work in progress. We asked them to escalate it to some higher people in maintenance to see why they're still blocked off. I mean, it's been, I'm going to say 2 to 3 months already, and they still haven't fixed them all. So we're getting that issue escalated up. Let's talk about that crazy must read about life vest replacement. That was fun. first of all, I want to say kudos to all of you flight attendants, because when the company said, hey, you guys need to not go with these life jackets, you all said, okay, we hear you, and we're going to go ahead and get new ones. You guys did what you're supposed to do 100%. And then the company was overwhelmed, obviously, because I would say probably 90% of our life jackets, life vests were altered in some way. And so they had to go back and relook at that. And found out that no, it really wasn't a FAR. It really was just an issue from not the POI, but one of the FAA inspectors that had been on board. So obviously at this point, if the life jacket is usable for the demo, as it was usable 2 weeks ago for the demo, then you do not have to have it replaced at this point. So that's where that is. You can pass the word to people who aren't on or who haven't gotten to their musteries yet. The other issue that I had when I read that mustery was the Atlas carriers. If they're going to tell us that we can't sit on the Atlas carriers after we've been doing it for 30 years, where do they want us to sit? Where do they want us so that we're out of the way of the passengers? Where do they want us? And so we've made a request that they send something out to tell us where we can sit if we can't sit on these Atlas carriers. Because as all of us know, some of our jump seats are on the lavatory door, and they obviously don't want us to block the lavatory. Do they want us eating in front of passengers as a D&E in our jump seats there because we don't have a place to sit? So there's all those different questions. We brought them all up today to say, if it wasn't broke, why are you trying to fix it? We had come up with a plan ourselves as flight attendants to make this the best situation for us and for the passengers, to be out of the way. And they are stuck on the thing that we're not using Atlas carriers. So we're there and we're asking them, where are we supposed to sit then? And so I'll get back to you when they have an answer for me. There's been a new issue where people who work over the 15 hours on your duty and you're supposed to get that 200%, it's supposed to automatically show up. And sometimes when you guys call crew scheduling tells you to call payroll tells you to call crew scheduling. Here's the deal. In the contract, you guys don't have to do anything to get this money. If you go over 15 hours of duty, it's automatically going to be coded on your schedule. Give it 72 hours, show up. If for some reason it doesn't show up, then you need to call crew scheduling to get the code put on. But this is not on you. This is on them. So this is not something you guys should have to actively do. Check it, make sure you got paid, and you should be done. I'd always say give the company at least 72 hours to make sure the code's on, okay? But this is contractually not on you, it's on them. So I just wanna make sure you guys are aware that you don't have to make that phone call if you go over your 15 hours of duty. There was a email that went out to just a couple of bases that stated that you had to check your emails on your day off. I believe Dallas was one of the bases. I don't know the other ones. I just want to make sure you guys are aware you do not have to check your emails on your days off. You are not on duty. You are not required to check your emails. If you happen to, great, but it is not part of your job to check company emails on your days off. So I want to make sure you guys are clear on that. When you do show up for work, there is an obligation to, hey, check it out, see what's going on with your emails, but it is certainly not a required item or duty for you guys, okay? The next issue that I'm fighting and we're fighting because we don't think it's safe is the new cart. There's on the 320 Neos, you have the 2 half carts that they want us to park in front of the full carts. And on most of those aircraft, those half carts are already sealed off. There's nothing stowed in them anyway. And so we're doing a cart shuffle so that we can get to the carts that we actually need. There's a couple issues there. For us as your union, we're concerned with your safety. We don't want you guys pulling 4 carts out to get to the 2 that you need. If there is turbulence or anything else going on, it's dangerous for you. However, because the way the carts are set up, because the red clasps that hold that back cart in place, they are placed all the way in the front. so that the full cart has to go, then the little red clasp goes, and then the half cart goes. That's the way the galley is configured for the FAA approval. And that's why we're running into this issue right now, that those half carts are supposed to be in front, because those center, the little red hasps that are in the tunnel have to secure that back cart. And so that's where this issue is coming from, is the fact that the galley is approved by the FAA that way, with those red little hasps being down when we take off and land. So we're asking that the company relook at it and try to relocate those red toggles. I don't know what to call them today. Toggles, hasps, whatever we call them. And see if we can relocate them so that the half carts are secured in the back and the full carts are secured in the front. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer journey to try and get that, because it's an FAA thing. It has to be approved. The galley configuration has to be approved, but we are working on it, because I don't think it's safe for us to have to pull carts out to get to the carts that we actually need to use. So that's on our radar, you guys, and we know that it's not a good way to do this. Fact-finding meeting. Fact-finding meeting notices, you guys aren't really, hopefully you don't have a lot of these, because as an individual, we don't get a lot of fact-finding meetings, but as a union, there's a ton of fact-finding meetings every day. And we have asked the company to go ahead and push out the time frame. We want at least you guys to get at least 4 days from the time you get the notice to the time the meeting's scheduled. We'd prefer more, but we need you guys to have at least 4 days so that you can reach out to us, get a union rep, and then if for some reason a union rep's not available, we want you to be able to reschedule it within that 24-hour window that they've given you to reschedule. So we had a discussion about that, and we're trying to get that fact-finding meeting notice out from them in a more timely manner, so that we have a larger time frame before the fact-finding meeting, so that we can help you. Finally, we talked about again, day-for-day scheduling for aggressive bid. This has been a big one for our reserve flight attendants. For all of us who've been on reserve, you know that when you aggressive bid, they want you to bid a day for day. So if you have 3 days on, they want you to bid a 3-day. If you have 2 days on, you bid a 2-day. The problem with our new turn model is that you could be on a 6-day block of reserve, but your last day would be the only day that you could get an aggressive bid in for a 1 day, because you'd have 1 day left on your bid. This is something that is a common practice for crew scheduling day for day, but it actually is not a contract issue. So in the contract, it says they prefer you bid day for day, but they don't have to award it like that. And so we don't need an LOA or anything. We just need to change the way the crew schedulers think. So we're working with crew scheduling and crew scheduling supervisors to try and redo that thinking, so that they understand that if it's a fully turned base, or a base that has mostly turns now, that the day for day bidding for aggressive is not going to work anymore. So we're working with them to change that. So hopefully reserves, you're going to see a better ability to get awarded trips that aren't day for day going forward. And that, I think, covers most of what we talked about today. Of course, there was 20 other issues on our agenda that are just in the infancy stages. And when we get to a point where I can talk to you, Adam, of course, I will be the first one to do that for you. But that's what we covered today. And that's it for management.
All right, I think the next slide is going to take us to questions. I forgot when we were going over the agenda for today to tell you that after questions, we have a special offline update for you. So we'll take some time to answer questions while we're on the recording. Then we're going to stop the recording, and we have an offline update for you. So if you're interested, stick around for that. But yes, that's where we're at. The next all call is scheduled for June 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. In the interim, if you have questions or if you need any assistance, here are your local email addresses that goes right to all of your local representatives, your local officers. It's your 3-letter base code at afafrontier.org, and that will get you in touch with them if you need assistance.
And really quick, Andrew, I want to point out June 11th is not the first Wednesday of the month, like our normal all call would be. We had to reschedule with the company for the following week. So June 11th is actually a Tuesday, the second Tuesday, I believe, in June is going to be our all call for next month. So it's a little off schedule, but that's when we're having our management meeting. And so that's when we like to do the all call to update you guys.
Yes, thank you, Jen. All right, so I think that covers everything up to this point. We're open for questions. If you do have questions, you can raise your hand, or you can take to the chat. It's wonderful talking to you guys. So if you want to raise your hand and unmute, we're really happy to talk your question out. If you can't, if you're not in a place and you need to put your question in the chat, we'll be happy to try to read and answer those for you. Chris, how are you this evening? Everyone, this is Chris Brim, our MEC EAP chair.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to touch base. I put some information about the Hartford and the complimentary visits we have for 3 visits for mental health, legal, financial, or work-life balance. It's in the chat room there, and the 800 number is there. You call them up and tell them your zip code and tell them your Frontier flight attendant. They may ask you for your employee number or United Healthcare information. And they will find 3 therapists in your area if you're looking for mental health, or if you have legal issues or financial issues, they can answer those as well. It's 3 per diagnosis as far as the mental health side. I put our email down there. If you have any questions, contact any EAP rep or contact the email and let us know. It's a great service. And again, it's per diagnosis. So if one of your visits for the mental health therapist is marriage and family, you can also ask them about substance abuse or bereavement or other issues as well. So it's 3 per diagnosis. And the other topic I want to bring up, I didn't put it in the chat room yet, but we've had a lot of critical incidents lately. And if you're on the aircraft and you have a fume event or rejected takeoff or brought out the AED and had a really tough medical, let your union reps know, your local LECs, or reach out to safety or EAP. Because a lot of times we won't get that information for days and days, or sometimes we never get that information at all. So especially with the medical or the police meet the plane or fume event, and you'd like to debrief or talk to us, contact any LEC officer, MEC officer, and they'll get back to us in safety. But we're trying to put down, grab the aircraft number of the fume events. There's a couple of them are still flying that shouldn't be, that have had some events the last couple weeks, and we're trying to get with safety and see why these planes are still flying. So that's all I have. I'll open it up if anybody has any questions. If not, we can chat in the chat room.
Yep. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Again.
Any other
I see a lot of, oops, sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Jen, from the chat, what's going on with these seat arrangements, like blocking of the middle seats? Will this be a permanent, or will this be changing back?
I think that's a one of those famous questions for Frontier. Will this be continuing, or will we be changing back? For anyone who's been around Frontier for any number of years, you know that quite a few things start and turn around midway. This, for the company and for what they're telling us now, is permanent. So the blocking of the middle seats is the way they want to do a first class type environment so that they can attract the business travelers. Will it be permanent? Will it change back? That depends on how successful it is. And as we know, Frontier will give it a certain amount of time and then they'll make that decision. But as far as what we know and what we hear right now, it's permanent, and that's the way we're doing things for now.
Thanks, Jen, for answering that. Any other questions? Anyone want to raise their hand or chat with us?
I have a question. I'm having a hard time finding the raise hand feature.
You're fine, Ben. How are you today?
Oh, good. How are you guys?
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you so much for all the ways. I just had a quick question. I would like some clarification because I remember in years past with previous contract negotiations, certain questions being asked about the negotiations that um, that we had no ability as our union to kind of dictate to the company how they run their business. And I did see the email recently from our legal team, and I just wasn't quite understanding what grounds we have to with the new term model, like how is it that we, they're deciding to run their business in a different way. I'm just not understanding how we have grounds to argue with them. So if you guys could speak to that a little bit or offer any
know-
clarification, I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Ben. What we're gonna do, we are currently on a recording. Once we're done answering questions that we can answer on this recording, we will go ahead and take this offline and explain to you further about our major dispute with the company. So give me just a few more minutes on that, Ben, and we'll get back to you and give you a full response on that.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay. Okay. We are going through the chat right now. Andrew, can you see it or do you want me to do it?
regarding the half carts and red latches, I encountered this last night where I was missing one of those red latches to secure the curb service cart behind the half cart. Per the must read, pre-flight those, that'll light a fire. For changing it because we took a significant delay for them to in-op those two carts and tape them up. Plus our cart brakes weren't working, just like the life vest, pre-flight and write up anything. All the red latches, they don't work, so they won't secure the carts as they're supposed to go.
Okay. I want to be really clear here, you guys. When you need to write up anything that is part of our job already, please do not go out of your way to write things up. Write things up as they happen and as you are checking your equipment, just like you normally would. We don't go out of our way to do things that would harm the company financially. And so I want to make this really clear. Yes, your job is to check these things, and yes, your job is to write them up. But I'm going to leave that there, okay? Just be careful with words, you guys, and how we do things. We want to make sure that we're doing our job, and that we're not doing something that would be considered a job action.
Um, 100%. Crystal is asking about the new DOT rules and cancellation delays. What to do when the passengers ask us about those since there's no phone number for them to call.
That is a good question, Crystal. You know what? Let me ask the company what our procedure is going to be. I'm assuming that even if they just got on our chat box and requested a refund, that would be significant. That would be enough at this point with the new DOT rules. But keep in mind that the DOT rules, I think the companies have it up to 6 months to implement them. So it may not happen overnight that we see these refunds being readily available for passengers. So let me get with the company and see what the plan is for them going forward, and I'll fill you guys in next month, figure out what we're doing with it. But if you run into anything in the meantime, I would tell them to utilize the same things that they do today, the chat box or customer service in the airport or whatever else they need to do.
Another question about the blocking of the middle seats. If they're not purchased, are we allowed to put someone in 1B or one of the middle seats? The answer to that is the gate agents have a procedure from that. It comes from the day of departure desk. It won't be for non-revs. They were excluded from who could go into those seats. But there was a must read put out about it with exactly who and how and why. The gate agents have to contact the day of departure desk. And if you're a qualifying passenger that could be put into it if nobody bought those seats, then they can release them if they choose to, but they don't have to. Does that sum that must read up
Yep.
properly?
Yep. And I mean, there are circumstances, of course, where we utilize 1C and 1D if our jump seats are in op. And so that is a circumstance where we would be allowed to move somebody. But like Andrew said, there's a must read that outlines this whole program. And it's very specific that the gate agents aren't even allowed to release the seats on their own. They have to contact, it looks like SOC to get those released. So, that's all we got so far on this one, you guys. And we're gonna work to figure out, why the non-revs have been, excluded from, if they do open up the seats, why aren't non-revs allowed to do it? So we're working on that as well.
Any other questions?
JMG, I'm assuming that you're the one that was talking about the red.
It was, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was absolutely not telling you not to write it up. Like you just said, it is absolutely part of your checking your equipment. I just wanted to be clear because the words that were being used could be construed in a wrong way. So I want to make sure that we're really clear that you absolutely have job duties, you have checks that you have to do. And if you find that something's wrong on the airplane, you need to write it up. That's part of our job. But I just want to watch the words we're using when we're talking about it. Just to be clear.
Luis is asking why non-revs can't be placed in the middle seats if the majority of our flights, especially PR, are oversold and we get left behind. As Jen said, that's something that we're working on, but that's the company's current policy. Non-revs were excluded from the if those seats weren't purchased and they chose to release them, it was positive space and revenue passengers. Non-revs were excluded. That's their policy. We've made objections to it multiple times. We have been fighting on your all's behalf to get you in those seats, but there's currently not any movement on it. Do you want to expound further, Jen?
Nope, that was exactly it. All right. Any more questions, you guys?
All right. Do we want to move on to the next slide? Or do we
Yeah.
want to take a
What
few
is
more?
the next slide?